Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today I have an order for a standing spray to run over to the funeral home. The visitation is this afternoon. So I am going to make a fresh standing spray. We are starting out with a fresh floral cage. So what that does is it's fresh floral foam and it's in a plastic cage. I'm going to turn it to the side. So the cage has a hard back, and then it has a hole at the top, and then it has holes on each side. So I have taken some zip ties and I have zip tied this cage to this stand. So it will, it's not going to go anywhere. The fresh floral foam holds water, so it helps to hydrate the flowers. And then when I design, I like to put a bucket on the floor right up underneath my stand so that it catches the water that's going to drip from the cage. And that way then my floor isn't wet. I'm going to start out with my line flower. We're going to arrange this a little differently than you see me arrange most often. Most often I will start out with greenery, but today and this year I have been working on trying not to use quite so much greenery and doing things a little different than I've always done them because I think it just kind of mixes things up and makes it a little more fun. I'm starting out with some green bells of Ireland. This is going to be my height. So I'm taking my floral knife, I cut that at an angle, and I am going to tuck that stem right there in the top. I'm going to grab my garbage can because I'm going to throw things away. Instead of throwing them on the floor, I will just throw them right there in the trash can. So I'm taking this bale and I'm pinching the tip out of that bale. To me, I just think it cleans that flower up some. So I'm going to take and put one flower on the bottom, one flower on the top. Now, when you go to insert your flowers into that fresh floral foam, be sure to insert them very deeply into the foam. And what that's going to do is help to minimize the flowers falling out of the foam during delivery, okay? So I took 1, 2, 3 up here and 1, 2 down at the bottom. Next, I'm going to come in with some pretty blue delphinium. So, blue delphinium is one of the few blue flowers. It's kind of fun to work with. Blue delphinium is just really pretty in my opinion. So, I'm just taking that stem, cutting it at an angle, and pressing it right down into that foam. I am working with odd numbers. So I have 5 stems of the bells of Ireland tucked in, and then I'm going to do 5 stems of the blue delphinium. So at first, when I'm making this arrangement, it's hard to really tell much about it because of course it does not have the greenery on the back. So it's a little hard to tell much about it, right? It just kind of looks spriggy, but I promise it's going to come together. Next, I'm going to come in with some orange Gerbera daisies. So these Gerbera daisies come in a sleeve. And so I just slipped that sleeve right off his little head. And I'm just kind of fluffing him just a little bit. I'm going to pull that straw off the stem, and then I'm going to take a wire, press it right into the disc on the back, and twist it right around. Now these orange Gerbera daisies are going to be our focal flower. So I'm going to run them kind of right down in the center of this arrangement. And that so I was trying to take this straw off the stem and it's not sliding off easily. I'm afraid I'm going to break that head, so I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to cut that straw at an angle, and the bottom of the stem is sticking right out that straw, and I'm going to just use that flower with the straw on the stem, and I just tucked that right into that foam. There we go. This one slides off pretty easy. And I am just kind of making a line down the center of this arrangement with those orange Gerbera daisies. So this is how they are delivered, with that little sleeve or that little net on their heads. We just leave that on in the cooler. You do not have to. We just find it makes them a little safer in that cooler. So we just leave them on there. And then I have a 5th Gerbera. This orange is so pretty. And it's so lovely with that blue, I think. So there's that Gerbera. Okay, next we're going to come in with some yellow mums. So these are yellow chrysanthemums. These are actually called cushion mums. Cushion mums don't have that traditional center like a Gerbera daisy has a traditional center. Some standard daisies also have that traditional center. These cushion mums have more petals. I love this bright yellow. It's just such a happy, pretty color. So I'm going to take these stems and I'm going to remove some of that foliage that's on the stem. I'm going to take my knife and cut it at an angle, and I'm tucking it right into that floral foam. Now this arrangement is going to come together when I add the greenery. It's going to look a little fuller. It looks a little sparse right now. So I'm just stripping any of those leaves that are on that stem and throwing those in the garbage. Just strip those. So I find when I don't have all of the greenery, I feel like I can be a little more creative with an arrangement. And then I can come in and cover that stem broke, so I'm going to cut it short. I can be, I don't know, it just seems like I can be a little more creative without all of the greenery in the way. Let's move this guy. But it'll really come together once I have my greenery in place. Okay, so there's our yellow mums, our orange Gerberas, our bells of Ireland, and our blue delphinium. So next I'm going to come in with some leather leaf. And what I'm going to do is I am going to cover all of the greenery in this arrangement. So I'm going to take this leather and I'm going to cut it into pieces. So I'm going to take it and cut it into 2 separate pieces. And I'm going to nestle it right down into this arrangement. So with this greenery, you just want to make sure you're covering those mechanics. I don't want all that fresh floral foam to show. I really want it covered. But I don't want it to scream, hey, I've got all of this jade or this leather leaf. So I want the flowers to really be prominent in the arrangement. But you can see now how the flowers really start to begin to stand out in that arrangement. Okay, I also have some yellow roses we're going to add into this arrangement and some yellow solidago. And I believe we're going to add a few sprigs of some pretty foliage to finish it off. I'm sorry I was quiet for a second. I was just counting my flowers to see how much money I had in my flowers. So next what I'm going to do is we're going to fill in some of that negative space, some of that greenery, with some of this solidago aster. So I'm going to take this solidago, strip some of that greenery off, and I'm going to fill in some of this space. Okay, so there's my filler flower. Next we're going to come in with some beautiful yellow roses. This variety is called Stardust. It's just a really pretty yellow bloom. I'm going to take my little wire. This is about 1/3 of a piece of 21 gauge wire. I poked it right into that little swollen part down below called the calyx, and I'm wrapping it right around that stem. And I'm going to wire each of these roses. And if there's any bumps or bruises on that rose, I'm going to pull those right off. All right, I'm going to grab some pretty foliage, some just interesting mixed foliage, and add that to this spray, and we are going to call it pretty. Give me just 1 second. Let me go grab that. So to finish this piece, I am going to add a little bit of this silver dollar eucalyptus. Absolutely beautiful greenery. So I'm going to take it, so you can see it's pretty all the way down that stem. I'm going to take it and cut it in half. So using my floral knife, I am going to cut it in 2 separate stems. So I have 2 separate placements. So I can tuck it in 2 separate placements into my stand. To me, there is something about pretty foliage. I just feel like pretty foliage really finishes an arrangement. So this is 1 stem. So I'm going to take my floral knife and I am just going to cut it into smaller pieces and tuck it right in to this arrangement. The knife doesn't seem very sharp today. The only thing is, the one thing about eucalyptus is it's a little bit of a woody stem, and so it's not as easy to cut with your floral knife as it would be to cut with some snips. So feel free to use snips. And of course, some designers design with only snips, and that's completely okay. I have found, if I were to tell you my most prized tool, it's my floral knife. That's my most prized possession in floral design. If I have a knife, I can do anything. And I would prefer a knife 100 times over using snips, because I can constantly hold my floral knife and never have to put it down. I'm just a faster designer if I have my floral knife. Okay, so I have one more little tiny spot there that I feel like we could use another piece of eucalyptus. So I've cut off a couple of little tiny stems, and I'm going to add that right into that arrangement. All right, and there is our finished standing spray. So here in our flower shop, this standing spray would cost $150. It is actually for a man, so it will be delivered over to the funeral home this afternoon. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop that down below in the comments. If you would like to join us on our lives, we do 2 lives a week here on YouTube. We're going to do those on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, every once in a while, we have a few technical difficulties. We are working so hard to get that right. But please join us for those lives. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel down below. If you hit that little bell, it is going to give you notifications for when we have a new video up. Guys, y'all have a wonderful afternoon, and we will see you real soon. Thank you.